Good evening. If you have landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Remauro. Tonight we have lots to talk about. If I could get rid of the hiccups, that would be great. But as of right now, I am getting information. It's unverified information that in the Brown University shooting, that the shooter was found dead of, or the person of interest was found dead of self-inflicted wounds. Again, I haven't verified it, so it could just be hearsay, but it could actually be so. But this has been such a confusing case, right? At the top of the week when all this happened, they said that there was no connection between the shooter in Brown and the shooting of the professor, the MIT professor. And now today they're saying that there may be a connection. We still don't know, why the website was scrubbed of Mustafa. We don't know why the video hasn't been released. Today they said they knew who the person of interest was, and a arrest warrant was taken out on him or put out on him. And then they were asking the public to help them find the person. And so now, according to some sources, it has been out there that the person of interest that they had the arrest warrant for was found dead from self-inflicted wounds. So we may never know what the motive was. Hello, Andrew Dorman. Good to have you. Hello, Angela Ricca. And hello, Lucille. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I got my holiday cards this year at Hobby Lobby. And I had so much fun shopping for them too. Hobby Lobby is it's the best. I think there's one in New Jersey. I don't think that there's any in New York city proper, maybe a little bit upstate. But I had a great time shopping for them. I could get lost in that store. It's fantastic. Anyway, so this whole Brown University thing is it's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me that things could be so messy. And then there was, statements by police and officials, the mayor, that a lot of disinformation was out there, and that people were confusing things. Well, have you watched the press conferences? I have, and every time I watch it, it's like I walk away with more questions than answers. So yeah, I don't know. The prettiest card, yes, Staten Island has one. Oh, they do. When did Staten Island get a Hobby Lobby? Oh, how fun. Oh, Hobby Lobby is just the best. I would have thought it was like Walmart, that they wouldn't allow Walmart in, and they wouldn't allow Hobby Lobby. But it's good to know. So, yeah. Hi, Kevin Young. Good to have you with us tonight. Okay, well, enough about Brown. If I find out anything, let me just get back to where I was. If I find out anything about it, I will let you know. Let's see. There we go. Here we are. If anybody confirms what I told you, then I will let you know. Last year. Okay, of course. Well, I wasn't there. So is it in the mall where my headquarters was, Angela? That would be the place that I would think it would succeed the most. Hobby Lobby, that is. I spend a lot of time. I love South Carolina. Absolutely love it. But for some reason, I am spending a lot of time this holiday season remembering my childhood, Christmases in my childhood in Brooklyn. And in the Salumeras and the Italian stores, where you could get the baci chocolates and all the candies. Anyway, I don't know why I thought of it. I just did now. I guess because I was thinking of the Staten Island Mall and what it used to be, and the fact that it's so quiet now, and the fact that malls are just failing. And it just kind of reminds me that I don't know why we ever went to that mall kind of model. I always liked having a town center or a big avenue that you can walk along from neighborhood to neighborhood and have the stores there. I mean, I love Staten Island's town centers. I think that's great. South Carolina is the same. We have one big road like Highland Boulevard here. It's 17. We have two 17s. We have a 17 business and a 17 bypass, it's called. And the bypass is where most of the doctor's offices are. There are some shops too, but the business is where kind of all the small shops are. And you go through it town to town to town. And it's really fun, because you'll have a bunch of like offices, and then you'll have a town center with restaurants and shops and all kinds of cute things. It very much reminds me of Staten Island. But I mean, New York, you had 18th Avenue, so many Bay Parkway, so many great places to shop. And in Bronx, you had Arthur Avenue, great places to shop at. I don't even know if they're still there. That ability to stroll along and get your food every day fresh, and get your gifts and what you need as you stroll along shopping. Anyway, I don't know what made me think of that, but hi Francine, good to have you. And Bricktown now has Home Goods and Five Below. Oh, cool. All right, that's great. All right, so that outdoor mall structure model is kind of coming back. So they're making the town centers, instead of having these enclosed malls, they're making the town center. I went to the mall with my daughter when I was in Staten Island recently, and it was a ghost town. And I remember, boy, you couldn't walk through it around Christmas time. You could not walk through it daytime, nighttime, weekday, weekend. It didn't matter what. You couldn't walk through it. But I guess Amazon has put a lot of malls out. I'm always somebody that likes to feel things. I mean, I do shop in Amazon, although I shouldn't anymore because they're big lawyers on the tariffs. But yeah, I try to shop local here whenever I can. Okay, so let's talk about, there she is. Hello, Colleen. How are you, darling? Good to have you with us. Fox is now saying search underway for shooting suspects, so they're not saying he was found with self-inflicted injury. Okay, well, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. My sources are really good. They're usually ahead of all the news. So let's see. But like I said, it's unsubstantiated. We'll see. I mean, they have they put this warrant out for the arrest, and they haven't, as far as I could see, they haven't yet given a name. But we'll see what happens. Hi, Tony Whitaker. Good to have you. All right. So today we're talking about the Trump gender. And why I posed it that way is because we have so many things to talk about. Trump's speech last night, and then the big press conference today by Robert F. Kennedy, where he announced that Medicaid and Medicare will no longer be paying for transgender surgery for children, and also that there will be new rules that you cannot do transgender surgery on children. So that's pretty big. But there's other things, and I wanted to kind of talk about them. No, not another shooting. We're talking about Brown, Colleen, and a source told me that they found the shooter or the suspected shooter. did, and that the MIT and the Brown shootings were connected. So I said it's unsubstantiated. I only got it from one source. Let's see if we get it from some others. But we have so much to talk about that we'll figure that out from the news. I mean, Fox will report that properly. Um, I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm not wrong about this. Trump is brilliant in how he's handling things. Um, he last night went on the news. He preempted everything in prime time to tell the American people that they were getting money, that the tariffs were going to bring money, that the military was already going to get money. The checks are on the way. Um, they that he had closed the borders, that he stopped drugs from coming in. He spoke directly to the American people. So basically, it was a year-end wrap-up because the news media doesn't report stuff accurately, if at all, right? So I thought it was brilliant. I thought that it was a little bit of clickbait, but it was good. It was good because it got everybody's attention. But he also teed up the conversation for around the Christmas table, for around New Year's. He teed up the discussion to make sure that there would be both sides being portrayed at during the holidays if people were going to talk about politics. I thought that was a great idea. I would have liked better if he was going to announce something new. And this is why I say, right, I say it all the time, he gives too much access to the press, because when you give daily access to the press, it's hard to uncover anything. But what happened today with JFK, I think, is something that is brilliant, and it's something to run on for 2026. They should not be paying for gender affirming surgery for adults either with Medicaid. Well, I agree with that statement, and that's probably part of the whole situation down the line. Hello, Professor. How are you? But the whole gender affirming surgery and the kids, the transgender kids, that is something that helped put Trump in office. For the Republicans, that is like abortion is for the Democrats. It gets Republicans interested. It gets MAGA interested in if they're going to make this a basis of conversation for the rest of the year. And you know damn well that the Dems are going to take the bait, and they're going to start going crazy about this, and they're going to talk about it, which means that regular people and as we spoke about last night, right? The Hollywood elite are trying to take up the mantle for the Democrats, but the Hollywood elite have no connection to middle America. They don't know what middle America needs. Well, the same here. The Hollywood elite are going to show themselves to be what they are, not understanding of what middle America wants, only what the liberal woke left wants. And that's going to be a problem for them. Medicaid should be mandatory surgery only. Listen, Medicaid should only be for very, very poor people, and it should not be a lifetime collection, just the same as welfare and food stamps should not be a lifetime. It should be a helping hand. That's what all of these programs should be, a helping hand for a finite amount of time. If you can't get on your feet in X amount of time in America, then you have real problems. But handing out Medicaid to anybody willy-nilly, it's ridiculous, because you've got people who truly need it, old people who fell on hard times, didn't have a good job, let's say a waiter or waitress, who that was their only job, and Social Security doesn't cover, and Medicare, they didn't have enough money into Medicare, so Medicaid is their situation. Or maybe a widow with a disabled child. Medicaid should be for people with disabilities, and for people who are poor, it should be for a limited time only. That's my 2 cents. No cosmetic surgery should be billed to Medicaid. You're right about that. A hand up, not a career move. Yeah, and we need to get that. Johnson, destroyed a whole culture of people. Poor Americans, lower income Americans. He destroyed them. He destroyed them from ever having family, ever having a nuclear family, ever having desire for a job. Between welfare and Medicare and food stamps and the projects, people who were not able to make money, who were uneducated and maybe low income, have now perpetuated that curse onto their children and their grandchildren because they know no other way and they think that that's what they're relegated to. It's kind of like the Native Americans on reservations. If you tell people that there's no other option for them, they're not going to look for other options. You have to surround people with opportunity, and you don't surround people with opportunity if everybody in the neighborhood is in the same boat, right? That's why I'm a big proponent, instead of projects, I'm a big proponent for integration, 80-20 housing, things like that, where you don't know who your poor neighbor is. That's where you find your job opportunities. That's where you keep up with the Joneses. That's where you emulate somebody else. I don't feel that you're going to be poor for the rest of your life, but that's a different story. Okay, we only have 13 minutes left. Whole idea is to stay steps ahead of his opponents. Yes, so that's the whole idea. So he did a couple of things today. Let's see. We talked about it. All right, yesterday, troops will receive $1,776 in checks before Christmas. And we have some news programs going, oh, but that Congress already, that was money that was already appropriated. Yes, but it wasn't appropriated for this. And the tariff money will replace it next year. It was appropriated for something else. And Trump decided to give it as a bonus to our military. And I think that is fantastic. And then the other thing that Trump did for the Patriots and the MAGA is he is creating a whole agenda, spelled the proper way, for America's 250th anniversary. All right, so Patriot Games, National Mall, State Fair, White House, UFC fight, DC America. I mean, it's going to be everywhere, and there's going to be so much happening. And that is something that people will look forward to. Patriots and MAGA will look forward to. And that's important because it keeps the people engaged and interacting. And then, of course, we heard that the economy, inflation slowed even further than they thought it was going to slow. So that's great news. And everyone I've spoken to, everyone on the ground, entrepreneurs, financial people, everyone has said that 2026 is going to be a year where everybody's going to make money. In the 1980s, we had that golden time. And before, we collapsed, and we did collapse. But under Ronald Reagan, we did that. And it's because of tariffs. Reagan instituted tariffs too, and that made all the difference for us. And people's income started soaring. We're going to see that next year. So people are confident that that's going to happen. But I think that this is the one that everybody is going to talk about around the table. Watch.
To do this. That's a good one. We have people begging for me to do this, people that are in great pain. I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it, but hopefully this reclassification, which by the way polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life.
5 administrations have promised to act on this issue. The Biden administration promised to do this, and the proposal began during the Biden administration. It got mired down in the chaos and inertia and disorganization. And I want to thank President Trump, who made the promise during the 2024 election that he was going to come in and solve this issue, that he was going to take decisive action, and he has kept that promise today.
So he downgraded, he reclassified cannabis as medical, and old people love it, young people love it. I always said medical marijuana, always. I don't love that the focus on marijuana is so like in New York, where it is legal for recreational. I think that children, still should be educated about it, because we have a bunch of people walking around high, smoking in front of their babies, and they think that it's perfectly safe to do. And, probably it is perfectly safe to do in moderation, but then you have some people who are, smoking from the morning till the night and stay high the whole time, and they're driving, and they're not treating it as they treat alcohol. So yeah, driving high. Here we go. That's the one that concerns me. Driving high and smoking in front of children. Especially weed has such a distinct smell, and it gets all over you. And I think that there's, I always loved the medical aspect of it. And honestly, I've always been a proponent to legalize it. And I wouldn't say go back and make it illegal, but I would say that we need a lot more education around it. A lot more. And I also don't love that, we made it legal and then all the government put their fingers in it. And the stuff that you're getting from the medical marijuana places are like so potent, so much more than, what you used to get from the guy on the corner. So I understand. I've never been a big pot smoker. The man who coined the term voodoo economics caused the downturn, along with Slick Willie. Yeah, I remember that, Professor. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Does this override the resolution that was signed that bans all CBD products effective 2026? I cannot answer that question, Colleen. That is a good question. Maybe somebody could Google that. I wasn't even aware that there was that there. That was signed. Does this override the resolution that was signed? Was it signed in North Carolina, or you're talking federally? That would be bad if we have a federal law that gets rid of CBD products, because CBD products are used by a lot of seniors, a lot. And that's totally different than, lighting up a doobie. It's totally different. Let's see. I don't find it to be more potent. I think that's a scare tactic. Okay, maybe it is. But you would know more than me. All about self-medication, direct impact on pizza delivery. They snuck it in the continuing resolution. Oh, interesting. I didn't read the whole continuing resolution, so I don't know. Well, let's see what that will be. Marijuana smells disgusting, like a skunk. Yeah, it didn't used to smell like that. When I was a kid, it was sweet smelling. It actually smelled pretty good, in my opinion. I just didn't like what it did to me. I was always paranoid with marijuana. So yeah, I was the designated driver always. Okay, so I think that we're gonna have a lot of happy people there. I just don't want our nation to be high, you know what I mean, out of their minds and not paying attention. There are some people that can handle it, like some people who could drink booze and keep it all together. And then there are some people that can't. And especially the young people. I mean, if you're going to use it recreationally, you got to be wise about it. And we've got to talk about it the same way we talk about alcohol. It's not fair to have all these bans on certain things. Like, I don't understand how they ban electronic cigarettes, but they allow, marijuana to be smoked. Why would they ban something that, I mean, when the electronic cigarettes came out, teen smoking went all the way down. Now that they're banned everything, all the electronic cigarettes and the flavors and everything else, teen smoking is up again. I mean, these idiots. Why is the government always involved in everything? It needs to stay the hell out of our lives. Really, I just have enough of it already. Let's see. It's going to kill the industry. The fact that it's medical, you probably. Yeah, everything that government is involved in, it gets killed. Look at what happened to insurance. Big pharma must have gotten to them. Yeah, you're right. Driving high, dating high, and with children is always dangerous and unacceptable. Also irresponsible and inconsiderate. I agree. I absolutely agree. Listen, I like the oil cigarettes, where it's just oil and it's not actually natural. I know it's all processed, but it's a different kind of head thing, and it doesn't bother anybody, and it doesn't get you like super high. The first time I smelled the skunk, I totally understood where they got the term skunk weed. Yeah, right, exactly. All right, well, but this is the one I think that clinches the 2026 election because it's a checkmate for the Democrats. Because what are they gonna do?
Doctors assume a solemn obligation to protect children. Yet doctors across the country now provide needless and irreversible sex-rejecting procedures that violate their sacred Hippocratic oath by endangering the very lives that they are sworn to safeguard. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, peddled the lie that chemical and surgical sex-rejecting procedures could be good for children who suffer from gender dysphoria. They betrayed the estimated 300,000 American youth ages 13 to 17, conditioned to believe that sex can be changed. They betrayed their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. So-called gender-affirming care has inflicted lasting physical and psychological damage on vulnerable young people. This is not medicine, it is malpractice. We're done with junk science driven by ideological pursuits, not the well-being of children. A peer-reviewed report published by the HHS Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health last month confirms that sex-rejecting procedures impose medical dangers and lasting harm on children who receive these interventions. So today we are taking 6 decisive actions guided by gold standard science and the week 1 executive order from President Trump to protect children from chemical and surgical mutilation. This morning I signed a declaration: sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria. These procedures fail to meet professionally recognized standards of care. Medical professionals or entities providing sex-rejecting procedures to children are out of compliance with these standards of health care. This declaration is a clear directive to providers to follow the science and the overwhelming body of evidence that these procedures hurt, not help children. Additionally, CMS is proposing 2 new rules. The first rule will bar hospitals that participate in Medicare and Medicaid, which is almost every hospital, from performing these dangerous and harmful procedures. The second rule prohibits the federal Medicaid dollars from funding the sex-rejecting procedures on minors.
Okay, so I think that's going to be spoken about for the entire year, right up until November 2026. And I think that the cannabis thing is also going to be talked about. I think that'll be spoken about. Both will be spoken about, during the holidays. The cannabis in a really positive way. This one is going to be debated, and it's going to be debated very publicly. And the more the Democrats speak about it, the more the conservatives and the moderates are going to push back against it, because parents are deadly afraid that their children will get an idea in their head and that they'll have no rights to stop it. So, all right, last words. I don't think they should be allowed to smoke pot wherever you can smoke cigarettes. It should be a more private thing. Legalization of cannabis is like cigarette smoking, depending on tax revenue, and file a complaint later. Yep. Well, it's good to be banned in good to be banned in apartment complex. Everyone in building is smoking. It gets into people's apartments and on your clothes. Yes, my daughter. It's ridiculous. Damn Vikong. I'm not sure what that means. Hi, Santiago. Good to have you. Lib's brains are exploding over the trans. Oh, absolutely. It's going to be bad. Damn stoners. Yeah, well, there's a lot of old people that, my age, that, depend on cannabis for pain and for other things, and pot, and more so than the pharmaceutical drugs. And I think that I'd prefer to see that. But again, some people can dose themselves. What do they call it? Microdosing, where, if it's for pain or for anxiety or whatever, they still have their wits about them. And then there's, the young kids that'll, put 3 joints in their mouth and slam down a bunch of beers and get themselves so wasted they don't know what they're doing, and they'll be surfing on top of trains. Okay, so everyone, I will see you. Well, we're not going to see each other Wednesday, Christmas Eve, and we're not going to see each other Thursday. So the schedule next week is going to be crazy. So I might jump in over the weekend. Definitely Sunday, Monday, Tuesday we'll be together, and I might have a Friday show after Christmas. So right now, I'll see you definitely Sunday, maybe Friday or Saturday. All right, be good, everybody. Love you. Thank you for watching. Please share the show with your friends.